Hey, Karina here, your Lucid Living coach. How are you guys? You guys staying safe out there? Very revolutionary change going on. And hopefully everyone can come together for the same purpose. But the reason why I'm doing this video is because I want to talk about the nodes of the moon. Now, a node is where two energies meet. Okay, there is nodes in if you're an electrician, you understand there's nodes with two different frequencies, and that is a node. So I'm talking about the nodes of the moon. Now, I talked about it before, and the reason why I bring it up again is because the true node, which the node oscillates, so it moves direct and retrograde like some of our other planets, right? But then we have the node that's calculated where it finds the midpoint of all the oscillation. And that hasn't changed yet. And that will be changing on June 5th. Now, June 5th will be our first eclipse for the new nodal cycle. Now, nodes, the north node of the moon and the south node of the moon are opposites, and they stay within an area of the sky for 2 years. And it has been in Cancer and Sagittarius. Cancer and Capricorn. Now, Cancer is the north node. This is the head. This is where we're supposed to be heading, right? The south node tends to be where we already have experience, and it's our safety and comfort zone, but this will not make us happy, and it will not create change and evolution. So the reason why I'm saying this is because Cancer is where we've been heading, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon. It changes very quickly. It initiates things because it is the cardinal energy of summer after spring. So that's the energy that we're going to be coming in next after this mutable dying of spring. This is the ending of spring. We're in this Gemini energy, and we have a lot of Gemini energy going on right now. So I'm looking at, like, today we have the sun and Venus, the planet of abundance, love, beauty, our values are conjunct the sun. So something is highlighting our values, and something is going to change in the area of what we believe. So maybe for a long time we've thought about our belief, our value. We believe that something was more valuable than it actually is. So that is something that the universe is going to be working on for us. Hi, Ricky. Thanks for joining. And so this we're seeing right now the north node at 29 degrees of Gemini. However, that's the true node. The other node, I'll show you right here. Here's my ephemeris. And we have the true node is at 29 degrees of Gemini. And this other node is at 0 degrees of Cancer. If you see that, it's 0 degrees Cancer, and it's changing June 5th into 29 degrees of Gemini. So I feel like it's all catching up. So if you think of 0 degrees of Cancer and 0 degrees of Capricorn, Capricorn is karma, and it is constriction, restrictions, and Cancer is our home. And we're looking at that right now. We're seeing the dismantling of the systems and structures right now. And Mother Gaia did it with this natural selection type of virus, and now we're seeing it play out in humanity, and how we're moving into a new age of Aquarius. And the nodes are focused on the Gemini energy, which is endings. It's the mutable energy of spring. Now, Gemini is, it's mutable. It changes. We're going to be seeing a lot of action and a lot of change and revolution for the next 2 years. The focus is our communities. The focus is our home. It's our friends, our connection, our family. So if you look at Cancer energy and Gemini energy, that's where we're going to want to be focusing on and heading. So it's our home. It's like focusing on our main front. Like if we want change and we want revolution, then we need to make that within our own communities. And we're seeing that now. Now, however, this has been going on. It's been repeated over history. Do you remember Occupy, when people were protesting and stuff like that? And how much does that, my question is how much does protesting and like violence, let's just say, get change on the bigger scale? Like I'm personally curious. It's not a question that I'm not answering, but I just want to know. Okay, so yeah, there are peaceful protests going on. I'd like to say that. But there's also retaliations happening on both sides, right? And what is being broadcasted? Mostly the violence, right? Because we all know that drama and violence kind of sells. That is a part of the networks. Now, television is not made for reality. It's more made for money, right? We're going to put this information out because, and most news is biased, right? I mean, you could manipulate anything with video and editing and stuff. And so it's like they put on the news and on social media the things that are going to attract more viewers and attention because those networks get paid on what is being viewed. So we have a choice on what we're viewing and what we're sharing. So even on our social media, like, I'm like, you know what? I want to share like just good, positive stuff. Like, you know, there's peaceful protests. There's actually like cops that are like for this revolution and this change. Because to be honest with you, in every profession, there's the bad dude. There's the negative bad people that are just out for power, money, and they're not really in the right profession for them. So there are those people. But this whole focus of the nodes are about stepping into the new world, being active in our communities and our home and our family, our relationships with our family and friends. And there is big, huge shifts happening. Now, the average eclipses are about 4 a year. We're looking at in 2026 eclipses. We've had already one in January, and we have 3 in a row, which that's rare, like to have 3 eclipses in a row. Now, eclipses change things. They switch things up. So we have a lunar eclipse on June 5th, which is Friday. And that is when the node will finally catch up because the nodes oscillate. So the node's gonna finally catch up, and we're gonna have our first eclipse in the new 2-year cycle. And it's gonna be in Sagittarius. Now, what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is foreign travels, right? It's the philanthropist. It is the traveler, the guru. It's spiritual enlightenment. It's what we believe. Okay, so this is going to change how we've seen something in some area of our life. Our belief systems are changing. Now, on June 20th, there's going to be a solar eclipse, and that will be at 0 degrees Cancer. This is a brand new start. So the past 2 years have been Cancer North Node. We've worked on Cancer. Now Cancer is going to have a brand new start. And Cancer is the feminine energy because it's ruled by the moon. It's how we feel, right? And the sun is how we think. It's more the masculine. So these two work together, and all eclipses, suns and moons, work together. That's what makes an eclipse. Now, Cancer and Leo are the two zodiac signs that are ruling these two. So you could look at that area in your chart and also look at Sagittarius. That's where your belief systems are changing, and which house, and look at Gemini. Now, Gemini is where we're going to want to be heading. So look in your chart, see where Gemini is. If you're a rising Leo, Gemini is in your 11th house of community, friendships, revolution, change, getting active, being future forward. And that's where the focus is going to be for that. Now, the third eclipse that I'm talking about will be a lunar eclipse on July 4th. And this is the one I've been talking about since last year about the Continental Congress. Now, history repeats itself. And this eclipse is on 13 degrees of Cancer, which was on 1776 when we became the New World, United States. Our sun was at 13 degrees. So this is wrapping up the way that we've governed. That's changing because eclipses change things. And if our United States, if our sun is being eclipsed, this is going to directly affect us. Now, in 1774 was the smallpox, which wiped out the old world, which we're kind of seeing with this coronavirus. And then 1775 was the creation of the Continental Congress, where they make decisions on the majority of the people, right? That's what our presidents and our governors and our city councils and stuff like that. And then in 1776 was our New World Independence Day, the creation of this is the new world and this is how we're going to govern things. Well, we're going to see a huge shift in that, the way that we've governed. So those are the three eclipses. And literally the best advice I can give is just be ready for shifts, changes, be open-minded. Don't let your ego get in the way of what you have believed in the past. Allow yourself to evolve with the times. If you've believed something to be true for so long and it shows that it's no longer true, then adapt to that. Because to be honest, things change and evolve all the time, right? We're constantly, as scientists, we're putting together our research, right? We're getting our data together, and we run tests, and then we get the results, and it's either statistically significant or it's not. And then we can say our hypothesis was correct or it's not. So then we have to go back to the drawing board and figure out other ways of doing and looking at something. Now, you could do a research on some data that will turn out true, and 20 years later, you could do the same research data and use the same data, the different data, because it would be different subjects, but you can do it the same way, whether it was like a small group or a local group or whatever. You could do everything the same, and it might turn out as not significant. So that's evolution, and that's change. Like, just because something was statistically significant and true, one point, doesn't mean that it will be true again. So just bear that in mind during all these mutable and this crazy evolutionary change that we're experiencing. I would also recommend that focusing on building and creating the new world that you'd like to see. So treat your neighbor like you would want to be treated. Treat people the way that you would want to be treated. That is to me, it's about modeling. So if you can model the behavior that you want to see, that is the best for creating change in another. So I pulled up a few charts. Let me get out of this one. But Gemini is about learning and about that rational aspects of life through communicating with and learning from others. We're all here to learn from each other and adapt and to communicate and not to be silent. We definitely want to make, if you want to make change, you have to speak out and you have to stand for what you believe. The mutable air, there is like huge shifts that are going on because not only are we in a new year, we're in a new age. And another thing that I'd like to point out is like our years are a little off just because in history they didn't I think account for certain rulers. I miss Miyagi. Certain rulers. So even though it's 2020 and it could be 2020, it could be like, let's just say time and space is kind of irrelevant. So like, even though that the true node had switched, doesn't mean that it is entirely switched. And it's kind of like the same thing with the energies. Like just because it's a new decade, we could have already been in the process of changing. And that's kind of like the black hole or it's the cocoon, right? We were in a cocoon and we're heading into a brand new area. And we're seeing what is working from the old world and what we don't want and what we want to start working towards in the new world. So but okay, so with Gemini energy, we want to be curious. We want to be intellectual. We want to be adaptable. Things that we want to move away from, however, is being nervous or impatient or not asking questions or not being flexible or being deceptive, dishonest, and also withdrawn and indifferent. We definitely don't want to do that in this transiting node of Gemini. We definitely want to balance this soul and personality, the lower self and the higher self. Because like, if you think about it, like the earth is splitting and you have some people that are going to remain in 3D and some are ascending to the 5D. Now, I always see it as 3D is the masculine energy and the 5D is the feminine energy, because feminine is the heart-centered, ruled, and 3D, the masculine, would be the head, like what you see. I always see it as like the dog, like a dog. He's really good at like hearing, seeing, smelling, all those things, which is like more of the 3D. And the cat is more like the 5D, the feminine, which she sees things that are not in the physical world. She senses things and she's more on self-care and meditation. And so if you think about it that way, you could ask yourself, what world am I living in? 3D would be I'm living in what I see and what I think and not what I feel or not what I believe. You could think about like how scared you are or fearful of what's going on. If you're finding yourself having depression, you're focusing too much on the past and what could have been and what should have been. And if you're feeling anxiety, then you're too focused on the future and how am I going to make this work? Where am I going to go? How am I going to provide for myself, right? And so the time that we need is to be in the present, in the moment, because presence is a gift. And so we don't want to live in the past. That's depression. We don't want to live in the future so much because that creates a lot of anxiety. So being in the flow of what's going on in the present is highly recommended. That will get you through like a lot. So what can you do today to make evolutionary change and to create the new world that you'd like to see? And this is about bridging the gap between the higher self and the lower self, because we are here, this is our avatar, right? And we have a soul's mission. We have this energy of our higher self that like has lived many lives and have had many lifetimes, most likely, memories, of like things that, or dreams that you haven't experienced, because we live in this multi-dimensional universe. So in the new world, it's about building what you desire. And so how you do that is creating it with your mind, because that's the 5D. That's how you're going to get through some of the hardest times, is creating what you want. So focusing on the things that you want to see and you want to experience. So hi, Susan, thanks for joining. And so making vision boards has been very successful for a lot of people. Those are the beginning stages of manifestation. And so we are creating the new world with our thoughts and how we believe and see the world. And that's all shifting and changing with these 3 eclipses. So that's exciting. I just feel like there's just so much going on and so much to talk about that I kind of get overwhelmed. But it's about is understanding not only your value and your worth, but how you're communicating that to the world and yourself. Also, aligning yourself with your soul's purpose and mission. And if you feel dead inside when you're working, most likely you're not in the right profession for yourself. You have this calling inside, something that tugs on you, or you wish that you were like doing this, or, oh man, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could do this. But instead of wishing, making that a reality, like creating your life for your strengths and what you want to accomplish. Because I feel that when we're not in alignment with that, then we're doing the humanity and the people around us a disadvantage. Just like that owl Crowell's and that guy from 2001 from 9/11 that was like a part-time firefighter, or he volunteered, but he worked at the World Trade Center. And then the 9/11 happened, and he put his bandana around his face, and he started saving the people in the office, showing them how to get down. He was carrying people down, like out of the burning Trade Center, the World Trade Center. Like, he goes back up, and then that's when the last plane hit him and took him out. But like it was like a week before he had like called his dad and said that like he's gonna quit and he wants to be a full-time firefighter because that's his passion, that's what he enjoys. But could you imagine if he just did that from the beginning, like how many lives he could have saved? And he died being being a firefighter and saving all those people. But like that was the moral of the story. And the thing is, the last time the nodes were in Gemini, North Node Gemini was in 2001. So this is all full circle coming back around again. And it's like, what were you doing in 2001? Like, are you going to repeat history? Are you going to think about how you can better go about the next cycle? The 2-year cycle? And when the North Node was in Sagittarius was in 2012. And that was the opposite of these nodes. So what were you doing in 2012? This is wrapping up that cycle. It's wrapping up a cycle from it's 2001 and then wrapping up another half cycle from 2012. And it's literally the opposite. It's flipped. So there was a huge awakening in 2012. What were you doing? What was going on for you? And how, and did you listen to that higher calling to switch the nodes? Because it's opening that portal back up for us. Like, okay, you graduated, or okay, you didn't listen to yourself. So we definitely have this split going on. But I just wanted to do a live. I had a lot on my mind. I probably didn't get it all out. But there's just a lot of things to think about. And, you know, it's definitely the age of Aquarius. We're seeing it everywhere where people are coming together to make that evolutionary change. And it's about building of the new world. You know, South Node Capricorn, all this energy in Capricorn with all the planets that's been there, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, they're all destroying and dismantling the old world. But Saturn's in Aquarius right now, and it's trying to build the new world, right? But it's only 1 degree in, and then it started, I think it was maybe 2 when it started retrograding. But now it's in retrograde, and it's going to drop back into the old world. And let me see when that is. So Saturn is going to retrograde right back into the old world July 2nd, which is right between those 2 eclipses. And the 2 eclipses are both Cancer. So Saturn is going to be retrograding back into Capricorn between these 2 Cancer eclipses, which is it's super interesting because those eclipses are wrapping up the last 2 years. Because that's it. After 4th of July, that's it with Cancer eclipses until the next cycle. So what is it? What do we want our new home to look like? And our home, I'm speaking of Earth. I mean, it always starts in your house, your home, and your family. What you want to pass down to your children, or what curses have been repeated that you don't want to repeat and you want to break the cycle. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see. So after July 4th, the next eclipse in Cancer will not be until 2028. I mean, it's a long time, right? So let's make these count. I mean, this is the last eclipses we're going to see for a while. and it's happening in June and July. So June 20th and July 4th. And this is totally focused on the United States and shifting this country. And Saturn will be going back into the old world. Like, what? Okay, so wait, what do I need to get? I forgot something. This needs to happen before I can move forward. I need to grab this. I need to grab that. I need this, my tools or whatever, right? And then in December, it's going to retrograde. It's going to retrograde to 25 degrees. Yeah, 25 degrees of Capricorn. And then it will finally, Saturn will fully move in December 16th. Fully move in to Aquarius. And that's where the solar eclipse in Sag. So it is wrapping up what's going to be happening. So this is the year of gestation. Sagittarius eclipse is on Friday. And then the next Sagittarius eclipse will be in December when Saturn moves back into Aquarius, which is fully stepping us into the new world. So we're wrapping up a huge cycle and we're creating something brand new. So where it's going direct was from February. So Saturn, when he turns direct, that was where we were in the beginning of February. Now, what do you believe? That's what it's asking. All right, now what is it? I've rethought things. I've rethought what we want, where we want to head as a collective, or where it is in your chart, and just launch you forward. So hold on. It's going to be a ride. The next, it already has been, but it's not letting up. It's not going to let up, just to let you know, because eclipses change things, and we're going to have a huge change in our beliefs, what we believe. And so I kind of think it's going to be what we valued for so long. Like maybe it was money and work, and like we're going to see a shift also with how much seeing the media for what it is, seeing leaders for what they are, not what we think they are. And I think there's going to be a huge shift in like the way that we've been governed for so long. Like I think some people thought that it was stable, but it's not in the new world. Like nothing of the old world system is stable in the new world. Like it's all just crumbling because we're building a new way of governing, and it is about diversifying power. Like that's no longer working for us because we're educated and enlightened human beings, and we understand we don't need a codependent relationship with our government like some people have had with their parents that always take care of them and shelter them from things of the real world. So we're experiencing things for ourselves, and we're creating our own beliefs and our own systems, and we're creating something brand new. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, or if you'd like to schedule a coaching call with me, I do life coaching, and I use astrology and therapy, healing, art therapy too. So yeah, it's definitely a revolutionary time, which I talked about in December. And we're really seeing this through. And so these eclipses are going to be cray cray. It's going to be pretty exciting because more and more people are evolving and waking up. So I will talk to you guys later. Peace out. And I would love for you to support my new book that's coming out. I'm a co-author in Break Free to Stand in Your Power, which is being released June 17th. So mark that on your calendar. That day, we're selling it only for 24 hours for $1. So yeah, get your copy. There's a lot of like like leadership and women that are empowering other women. And I talk a little bit about the new world and yeah, and a little bit of my story as well. So thank you for supporting me. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for contacting me. I can't wait to hear from you. All right. Peace out, guys. Your Lucid Living Coach, Karina.